Hello again, and welcome to another in the series 28 Faces of Love 101 FM. Persons who have walked the corridors, helped to build and to just get love to where it is now. They played their role, they played their part. And today we're going to be talking with Debbie Mcfarlane, and you'll soon find out what role Debbie played in the progression, in the building of Love 101. Hello, Debbie, how are you?
Hey Nat, I'm alive and kicking. Thanks. How are you doing?
I am good. I am well. It's so good to see you. And I know
Yeah.
persons probably wondering who is Debbie? Well, we're going to get into that in just a moment. So, Debbie, let's go back to the first time you heard about Love FM or you listened to Love FM. I want to kind of try and see if we can remember those feelings and what your thoughts were about love at that time.
Okay. Um, so going way back, I remember it was quite coincidental. I had I had left UTech and I was sort of transitioning. I had done a training stint in a sales company, and I was transitioning from that. And I was at home one day and the radio was on because my mother is, and at the time she was an ardent listener. And I heard the ad on Love, stating that they needed some persons for their sales and marketing team. And because
Mhm.
at that time I was saying to myself, I didn't want a 9 to 5 job. I wanted something that was flexible. And it just occurred to me to apply for a post at Love. So that was my first contact. I must confess, I was not an ardent listener before
Right,
applying,
right.
before working there. Right.
Wow.
And right. So I remember after making that decision, I applied, got the call for an interview, went in to do the interview. Nadine, the truth is, I never intended to stay there for more than perhaps 2 or 3 years.
Yes.
But of course, yeah, that was never the intent because I had a plan as to exactly what I wanted to do. And
Right.
the whole aim was to probably start a business after the next probably 2 3 years there. That was my intent. But having gone there, I realized that I guess at that time, that is where my purpose was.
Wow. Yes. That's big. That's where your purpose was. Yeah. I noticed that you said that that was where your purpose was. Can you expand on that?
Right. It was, I think at the time, it is where I was supposed to be at that time. Um, it's amazing that sometimes you never see yourself in particular roles, but when you actually get into those roles, you flow so much and you connect so much with those roles and the requirements of those roles that becomes, it just seems like a natural part of your existence. And when I watched and even when I observed myself there during that period of time and how I grew, I figured that is where God wanted me to be at the time. And even just reflecting on my life, even in recent months, and just to see how God pretty much strategized and just aligned everything for me to spend the period of time that I spent there, which was 12 years. I
From
remember
2 years to 12 years.
from 2 years to 12 years.
Yeah.
It's so
Purpose.
amazing, and purpose indeed. And I remember just even in the era that I worked, because I worked in sales and marketing, it was so easy for me. And of course, you know that I'm more a little on the reserve side,
Ha ha ha
right? I
ha
was a little
ha.
on
Okay,
the
sure.
reserve, right? I was a little on the reserve side. However, whenever I went to a client, it was like a transformation that took place. And
Wow.
predominantly I had success. So if you're talking about a ratio, we're talking about sales ratio, people think about a 1 in 10 sort of ratio, um, of success in sale. I predominantly will have probably a 5 out of 10, and sometimes even higher in some instances.
Yes.
I saw where I was favored by God. I prefer to look at it that way. I saw where I was favored by God, and even in being favored by God, I was favored by the clients as well. So, 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 no, but when I look at it, seriously look at it, I don't think there is any other way to explain it, because I don't necessarily see myself as an exceptional sales and marketing person. I did the job well. I did my research and I was consistent, yes. But I failed to chalk it up just to my efforts or my
Yeah.
abilities. I saw a
Wow.
direction in everything.
Yes. Well, yeah, you said it. Debbie served as our sales and marketing. Is it manager? Was it manager at the time?
Well, I started out as a sales representative, an account executive, and acting marketing director.
Okay. And you served well because she always came up with some great ideas, great links, and you really played a big role in Love 101's growth. Now, Debbie, do you have any memories, anything that used to happen back then that stands out for you?
Wow, wow, Nads. There's so many things. Um, One of the things that happened in my earlier stage there, and this was when Dr. Alma Blair was there. I remember, of course, with every journey there are challenges. I remember there was this one particular day where she gave me a card, and that card read, "Nothing is going to happen to you today that you and God can't handle together."
Yes.
And that was very impactful for me, because I saw her as a great support. I saw her as a quiet support, not just to me, but I guess to a number of us who were there at the
Yes.
time. Um, One of the reasons why I remained there as long as I did, I think, is because of the camaraderie that we shared, the bond.
Yes.
I tell you, man, you hear the jingle about, and that we're a family indeed.
Yes.
That's the context. That was the context, you know.
Yes.
We laughed together, we cried together, we rejoiced together, we did all sorts of stuff together. Yes, we had conflicts, but we got over that.
Yes.
Right?
We never let it
The,
stay.
the bond was exceptional, and I think one of the reasons too, um, we were young, and I
Yes,
think for us
I
we
am still young.
Thank you, man.
But
Thank you for
yes,
that
we were
reminder.
young.
Thanks for that reminder. Right. Yes, indeed. Right. So we were young and still young, and I think we owned the station.
Yeah.
We wanted to see it grow. You understand? I think the relationships, if I must say I did earn well, but the relationship with a different category of staff
Mm-hmm.
was just excellent, exceptional.
Wow.
and
Nice.
and
Nice.
um, up to this day, Nadine, when I look back, with all the places I've worked, there's nowhere where I actually enjoyed, my time of work as I did at Love.
Wow.
Even working there wasn't even as though I was working. You know, we're just being a part of that team to build
Yeah.
this station, the station that brought
Yeah.
solace to so many persons.
Wow. That's amazing. That is amazing. Yeah. It you know what this does for me, it hearing the different persons that are sharing in this feature, um and they're all saying the same thing. Yes, that's it, that's it. They're all saying the same
Yeah.
thing, that the camaraderie, the love, the family, and it speaks volumes,
Yeah.
it really does. And Love 101 has really been that for so many family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
awesome. The day came and you had to leave. What was that like for you? And it was
Um,
all growth.
mhm. I must say, prior to that day coming, though, there, I would say it was a process, and to
Mhm.
some extent, I was prepared because remember I mentioned before, my being there at the time was for a purpose, and
Mhm.
also my leaving was a purpose. I, I,
Ah,
I had, right, exactly. um, Prior to leaving, I think it probably was about 2 years before we had an outside broadcast in Barbados. I think we are covering the Barbados Gospel Festival. And I
yes.
remember there,
Those were
there
the
was this,
days.
yeah, I tell you, those were the days indeed. So, so there was this pastor, that we would normally speak with, and I was talking with him, and I was saying to him, if I should ever shift from marketing, or if I should do something on the side, preferably doing something on the side, I think I'd go into counseling. And he said to me, the best place to do it is JTS. And I'm giving some free ads here now, right? Right. And interestingly, because at the time I was doing outreach in children's homes, and I realized
Yes.
that although I could address some of the social issues or physical issues, I couldn't address the psychological issues.
Yeah.
But it was a burden on me,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so he gave me this recommendation. I sought out the institution and started studying in that area. And but God started preparing my heart also for that area. And Nadine, I loved marketing, and I did well at sales and marketing. But I started losing the zest. I started losing that passion that I had. And then the area of psychology became a new area, the area of health, the area of counseling. I
Yes.
started realizing that, this was like a natural process was happening, a natural thing was
Yes.
happening. So what actually happened is that I was repurposed or recareer.
Purpose brought you to love, and purpose brought you to where you went. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Right. And
I
so,
remember I remember when you were studying, and you
uh-huh.
said one of the hard parts was when you had to do the introspecting, looking, because part of studying psychology, you have to
Right.
psychoanalyze
Right.
yourself. And I remember
Right.
that, but the journey must have been good though.
It was. It
Yeah.
definitely was.
What is your prayer now for Love FM? Before you answer, I want to say congrats on your journey and on making that move, but above all, being so open to the leading of the Holy Spirit. What are your prayers for Love 101 now, this in our 28th year of celebration?
Okay. Thanks, Nance. I think I would say to love, to continue to be that solace and safe place for so many persons. just that place where people can go for that assurance and that sense
Yeah.
of calm. Um, when the station was conceptualized, there is a vision, was a vision, is a vision, there is a mission. And I'm saying to love, don't lose sight of the intent for which you were established, and continue to give the wind a mighty voice.
I like it. I like it. Thank you very much, Debbie Mcfarlane. Continue to shine where you're planted, bloom where you're planted. And thank you so much for the role that you played in the development of Love 101.
Thank you, Nadine. And it was my pleasure. I say to people all the time, I love love.
Ah, thank you. I love that. I love that. Thank you, Debbie. Talking there with Debbie Mcfarlane as we continue our trek in the feature 28 Faces of Love 101, the family station.